Did you want to add? Oh, you said you screenshot it, but I don't know if you wanted to add it.
Yeah, is there anything that you wanted to like add to the list? Is there something like that was on there that you didn't want to talk about? Is there something that's not on there that you do want to talk about? Like,
no, I think I'm good. I mean, I think this has been the latest updated with news and stuff. So yeah, we can get into it.
Hey, just don't spoil a sentence for me, y'all.
welcome to an all-new episode of the No Rules Podcast. I'm Aaron Hilton, as always, joined by my main man, Malik Smith. Malik, what up, dog?
What's poppin', brother? How you living?
And mentioning Benzes, as always. And Malik, I don't know what we have to do. Our guests have been treated. This back-to-back weeks of illustrious guests here, man. The Hampton Love train keeps on rolling.
Yes, sir.
He is the producer, the showrunner, the talent, everything behind the Ayyo Reese podcast. He is probably the greatest Call of Duty Warzone fighter. I don't know what the technical terminology would be. I'm probably slaughtering his shit, but he's like that on the sticks for Call of Duty. You know, if you don't know, to ask somebody. Our dog, our main man, Maurice Brown, aka Ayyo Reese. Reese, welcome back to the pod, man.
What's up, fellas? Feel good to be back, man. 2025. It's been a long time. Been looking forward to it. I've been back, on my grind. Y'all been motivating me to keep going. So let's get this collab started, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. We really excited to have you back on, man. And what better way to welcome a fellow Hamptonian onto the podcast than to talk about the success of a Black director, Ryan Coogler's latest hit, his first original screenplay, Sinners, came out this past weekend over Easter weekend to rousing success. An A cinema score, first time an original horror movie has received an A cinema score, just reviews off the chain. We're showing up in droves, we're getting the money. $45.6 million over the first weekend. Big time reward. You know what I'm saying? Show that money.
Yes, sir.
But beyond it, because Malik still hasn't seen it yet, so don't worry about spoilers. We're not going to spoil none of that stuff. But I did want to ask.
You know what I'm saying? We won't do that here.
For the audience. Malik is the audience. We're not going to spoil for anybody.
Yes, sir.
But I did want to ask y'all, and I guess we'll start with our guest here. Is it Ryan Coogler or Spike Lee for you now at this point?
It's always hard not to just roll with like your millennial counterpart, especially when you look at someone and you're like, I kind of relate to this guy. I mean, especially just the way he talks with his dialect, and he's not trying to put on like this facade. Not to say that Spike was either. I'm not insinuating that, but it's easy to relate to someone and be like, you know what? That's the guy. But I still think if we look at it from a totality perspective, I think sometimes I still want to give Spike his flowers. He has so many classics, more than I can probably name in this setting. So I still probably would give him the nod. But I will say the pace and trajectory that Coogler is on, he's going to probably eventually eclipse him and pass him up. I mean, not even just the fact of the success of this movie. I mean, I went on a crazy rant before, as you all did with Black Panther. I mean, what else do we need to talk about? Fruitvale Station, where it started. It's like him and Michael B are on some like, I don't even know what the comparison be. Like Spike and Denzel. Yeah, like maybe, something like that. It just seems like he just keeps going back with Michael B, but they keep knocking it out the park. And it really just makes me sad at times just thinking about like Chadwick, how I feel like that would have been like a trio for some things, you know what I mean, moving forward. And that's why I just was just so sad with the untimely, passing of him when things happen that way. But I think still, just for the sake of respect, longevity, I would still give it to Spike. But I tell you one thing, Coogler's doing some things. I see a lot of people having the discussion about, he might break Warner Brothers because in 25 years, he gets the rights back to the film or something. Mm-hmm. I didn't do too much research into it, but it seemed like
he basically owns his own masters.
And it seemed right. And so it seems like it's turning into like this big thing. And he said it was very important to him for this film in particular, just for what it represented in the story he was trying to tell. And I mean, not with too many spoilers. I mean, just what's that famous juke joint painting that we seen in all of our grandmothers' like kitchens and stuff? Like people are starting to like paint parallel to like certain scenes and things that you just probably wouldn't catch. You probably have to watch it a few times to really catch everything for Sinners. I mean, I'll be honest, I was a little blasted in there, so I was kind of in and out.
My man was watching the IMAX 4D.
Yeah. So we had a couple drinks over there, and then I walked in, and I'm like, man, I'm a little wavy. And then the week was long as is. Like I said, I just came back from a trip. I'm a little in and out, but I still caught the gist of everything. And I'm like, you know what? This is probably something even outside of my drunken mind that I would probably want to watch this at least 3 times just to catch all the symbolism in it and understand it. So
easily.
But I'll conclude and say, I'm gonna give it to Spike for now, but I think the way that it's going, I feel like Coogler, he's gonna pass him up.
Hey Malik, what about you, man?
As a fellow New Yorker and a Knicks fan, no, I'm not even gonna do that because in all honesty, Spike Lee's one of my favorite directors. Like every time I watch a Spike Lee movie and he does the dolly thing where he has him, going forward. Like I remember the first time I saw
while pushing in on the cart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw him do that. I think it was the first movie I remember seeing it was Crooklyn, and I was I was like mesmerized. I'm like, what is going on? Like, so Spike Lee has like a special place. I feel like in my heart, in the heart of people who love movies. But I agree with you. If we're looking at it from like a trajectory standpoint, I mean, I think Coogler, he's just had hit after hit. And I didn't even realize that Fruitvale Station wasn't an original screenplay by him. So that's crazy. That
because I mean, it's not. I guess I don't know if it's necessarily not because it might still be, but it's not IP. This is his IP.
Yeah, exactly.
He's telling the story of Oscar Grant.
He created the world that exists. Even though I haven't seen it, I've seen a trailer and I've seen some of the stuff. So. I think it's Spike, but to give Coogler his flowers, man, like he's just been on a crazy, crazy run of putting out really good movies. And I think for him, what makes him so great and what makes you appreciate him is that it's not the quantity, right? It's not like I'm doing a movie every year. And that's not to knock a director who does that. I was actually listening to a story about Ridley Scott talking about, I mean, he's in his 80s and he's like, I'm doing 1 movie this year and I'm doing 2 next year. And it's like, he's like adding more stuff to his plate, right? And it's amazing to see somebody do that at that age. But I think you can also appreciate a director who's like, I'm going to come in, I'm a quiet guy, I do my thing, I make my movies, I put it out there, and you don't hear from me. You know what I mean? You don't hear from me, my name's not popping up. My name only pop up. He actually kind of reminds me of like a dude like Kendrick, right? My name only pop up when I got something for you. Other than that, you're not going to hear about me. You know what I'm saying? Right. But to your point, like the connection that he has with Michael B. Jordan and the stuff that they've done. And I think also the influence that he's had on Michael B. Jordan, because you got to remember, by the time we get to, Creed 3, I think Coogler's out of the picture, but Michael B. Jordan had taken over, sort of a lot of the direction and like everything that was going into that movie. So, obviously Michael B. Jordan had a career before he met Ryan Coogler, but I would imagine his influence on him and the way that he sees movies and films and the way that he sort of envisions like how he wants these characters to go. I'm thinking he has had a huge impact on a guy who's definitely going to be around for a long time. We know Coogler's going to be around for a long time because he just has really great ideas and he does really great movies. And look, when you're knocking them out the park like this, you got Black Panther 2. This movie's had a great opening weekend. Like that's what Hollywood wants. Obviously they have their favorites and there's people that get a lot of opportunities, get a lot of bites at the apple. But if you're putting out movies that are blockbusters, people are gonna be calling your phone. People are definitely calling your phone.
Especially when it's original content. You know, like I think that's what it is for me. Like when you're giving people original content, or when you're being true to the subject matter while also finding little areas, little places to be original, or places to weave in the culture. Like, when he did the "what are those" joke, which, on its face is kind of like a corny joke. And in the wrong hands, it's played corny. But with Ryan Coogler, it's just, he has this, it's almost like a veil of cool around everything that he does. You know what I mean? And around the people that he touches in terms of his directorial eye and things. And I think that's why for me, right now, it is Spike Lee. just because I can't ignore body of work. Spike Lee been at it. She got to have it. I pulled up his IMDb just so I would be accurate with it. His first IMDb credit as a director of a feature film is She Gotta Have It in 1986. Great movie.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
And that's the start of the career there. And if that's going to be like how he debuts, and then you go into School Days and things like that, and all the way up through Malcolm X, I think it's one of those situations where, his muse, like you mentioned earlier, Maurice, his muse being Denzel also speaks volumes. Because I don't think anybody, and as talented as Michael B. Jordan is, I think he's another person we can discuss further as part of this. Nobody's going to confuse Michael B. Jordan for the next Denzel, I don't think. And I think it's actors gravitate towards
the guy. Why don't you?
Listen, man, you can be a great.
I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Because
you can be a great basketball player and you're not LeBron James. You know.
Oh, for sure. And that's no disrespect. That's just calling a spade, right? Like Denzel is just Denzel, man. It's just levels.
He's just the one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's the only guy that can put like Denzel in a period piece like he did in Gladiator 2, and it's still cool. You'd be like,
right?
Apparently he's a Roman from fucking Harlem. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
And like, no one cared. It was like the best part of that movie. It was like,
nobody cared. He was around scheming, doing whatever he wanted to do. Nobody gave a damn.
With his dangle earrings and shit.
Yeah, with the
right. He was just in his bag. But that's another thing, like for Spike Lee, is now Ryan is 5 for 5 with his movies. It's incredible. His ability to see talent, his ability to put that talent on the screen and to be authentic with his and for it to be as widely received as beautiful. Like, because that's another thing. It's not one of those things that we have to like go back and then appreciate. It's like at the time, people were like, yo, Fruitvale Station is heat. Like this guy, Ryan Coogler, might be next up, this young kid out of USC. And then all of a sudden, he's getting, like, he does Creed, and you're like, he's taking this Rocky IP and he's making it for us. And he's like, all right, well, what if we told the story of, Apollo Creed and, and all of that. And then now with this movie, after taking the helm of Black Panther and Marvel, I think to kind of widen his reach to even more people, with this movie, him being able to tell his story, a lot of people in Hollywood call it, one for you, one for me. You know what I'm saying? And like, maybe you could look at the Black Panther movies as that. It's like, I want to show you I can boost this $1 billion tentpole, so that when I do my own original IP and I ask for my masters back, you don't ask no questions because you just want to be in the Ryan Coogler business.
Yeah, he definitely built up to that. I mean, you can't do that off like your first or second film, but when you just come off as a person that just doesn't miss, that's when the cards are you're holding all the cards to be able to negotiate. So I love that this is happening, especially for him, cast straight out of Oakland. I do want to say that for the most part, I feel like it's been all positive in regards to this movie, but I do feel like there's been some articles that's been trying to paint the gross sales over the weekend in a negative light in the wordings and way they've done it. And I was going to call that out. Yep. I want to shout out Ben Stiller for like saying, no, fuck that. Like, why are we doing this here? Yeah. Because it does seem like just as much as we're moving forward in life as far as Black men and with the success, there's always somebody trying to throw some shade. And we're always quick to catch that. And to have somebody who is, I guess you could say, an ally to step up and say this sounds like bullshit, especially somebody from his stature, I think that's definitely worth a shout out there. But outside of, I think maybe that article, maybe it was another one. It seems like it's all been positive, and I just love to see it, man. So he's got another one. I can't wait to see what's next. I think he's got the X-Files reboot next.
Yeah,
I think
that's what he said his next project.
Yeah, X-Files reboot, and then Black Panther 3, Denzel with Denzel.
We mentioned. That was like, now you get your chance. This is when we'll really find out.
Exactly. So I'm excited. I just want to continue to see what he's going to create. We all respect creatives, and he's got a mind on him, and he seems very, very intelligent and really forthcoming in what he's trying to present on the screen and with intent. And I love to see that. So I'm excited. Definitely got to check it out again while I'm not as drunk, but
I would encourage you seeing it sober.
I'll probably check it out again sometime in the next week or so. Maybe
that's for sure.
Malik, you said you're going on Friday?
Tickets on Friday.
Okay, cool.
Date night.
Cool.
Dropping
Oh,
that
yeah.
baby off at
That's
grandma's
beautiful.
house.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, nothing.
Y'all gonna
Ain't
enjoy
nothing like it.
So, Malik, you talked about that date night that you got coming up on Friday. It kind of gets us straight into this next part of the Sinners topic I wanted to talk about because watching the movie, and you'll see on Friday. I wanted to ask y'all kind of a broad question. Do you think that you could your ego handle dating an actress, especially if you were like a non-actor?
Could my ego handle it?
Yeah. Well, I'm leading with ego. Like you personally, sure, but I want to throw ego in there because I feel like that's also going to be part of the answer for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, I think my ego could handle like most of the parts of it. I think where I would definitely be a little like, damn, like this is kind of awkward is when I got to watch you do a sex scene or like make out with somebody. You know what I mean? Like I'm at the premiere, suited up, and it's just like you're just getting pounded. And I'm like, that's my baby. Great acting.
Oh my God.
You was acting, right? You was acting.
Like imagine Eric Benet at the premiere for Monsters Ball. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, we can't do that because he was cheating on her. So it's like, fuck.
Oh yeah, it's fair.
No, that's true. That's true.
Be Eric Benet.
But shout out to Eric Benet though. But I mean, outside of that part, like if you're maybe a theater actor, on stage, we don't got to do the sex scenes, and like I'm like, yeah, because really, I feel like the only thing you really got to worry about is like, okay, this person's significantly more popular than I am. Everywhere we go, people are going to be like, hey, can you hold this camera and take a picture of us? So it's like, if that's the worst thing in the world, it's like, I mean, if you're like really successful, we're probably living great. So I think I can.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I can put my ego to the side to have a house in the hills. But that's just me.
Yeah, I'm trying to split the thought process because you're right. That house in the hills would be great. But if I just take away all of that stuff, I think it probably would bother me. Only just on the strength that, like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I mean, I'm a guy. Like, I'm a horny fucking guy. Like, I don't know if I could be an actor.
Yeah.
That I don't know. I might get too turned. I don't know if I could do that. Maybe the only way I could be okay with it if I was an actor too, because I'd be like, okay, this is kind of like what we do in a weird way. But I guess if I was in a position where, hey, I'm just regular me and I'm just out here and actress whoever is trying to bag, then yeah, if I start to live that lifestyle, yeah, I'm probably just gonna fucking deal with it as Mr. Camera Guy to take all the photos. But I think internally, that's going to be a battle I'd probably have with myself like all the time. Like, damn, man, like, I don't like this. I don't want to see you getting pounded out at the premiere, but damn, this Bentley's nice. So I just got to weigh it. Oh, like, I just,
yeah, hold on. Is that Jay-Z at the Oscars party?
It's like
friends with
right. So it's like, it's such a balance. So it's like, damn, like, then you look at yourself like, am I just a fucking sellout for money? So does that make me a hoe? Like, what is that telling me to be? A little bit, right? But we a little bit for some money. Let's be honest, one way or another.
My price tag ain't that high.
So it just kind of depends on the lens I want to look at. But I think if I try to be all the way objective and take away all the material stuff, I think it would bother me. But because we don't live in a non-material world, I'm with Malik. I probably would just, I guess I would just deal with it. I don't know. What you want me to do?
Y'all better than me. No.
What you want me to do?
I couldn't do it, man. Like, I just couldn't. Like, I wouldn't be able to. And I had mentioned Monsters Ball for a reason because, like, that's the first moment that I always go back to whenever I ask this. And I've been asking this question for a long time, group settings, all that kind of stuff. Because I watched that movie and it's like, make me feel good. Anybody that hasn't seen Monsters Ball, just look up the scene on YouTube. Make me feel good. Halle Berry.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot tell me that Billy Bob Thornton didn't actually fuck her in that scene. Like, you just, I don't care what anybody says. You know what I'm saying? It was D to V straight up. It's just no way that was
intimacy
fake.
Coordinator.
Yeah, no.
We'll take the.
It was just.
Okay, guys, we actually stopped shooting like 20 minutes ago.
Hey, Bill. We're cameras have already wrapped. We're literally wrapping. Because like, I thought we were going to shoot this scene again, And then the other part of it is, as soon as there's a cut in the scene, that they filmed that sex scene twice, right? So now, not only do I have to deal with you getting pounded out on screen. Now, seeing it from a second angle, there was a day dedicated, an 8-hour day dedicated to you just getting your guts rearranged by this, ridiculously handsome Hollywood actor. It's like, I'm just not, I don't know if I'm man enough to just be able to every single day deal with knowing like this could be the day where, where she meets her Denzel on screen, or where she meets it, you know what I'm saying? Or like, for my wife specifically, let it be Chris Brown. I'm like, oh, well, I mean, I guess we might as well draw up the divorce papers now. One of those things where it's hard because that part of it is like, it's attached to the toxic masculinity part and all that stuff that the feminists are going to say, and they'll probably be mad at the segment. I don't care. But the reality of it is like, look, we get sensitive about stuff too. And I don't know if I'd be willing to see on like a, 75-foot screen my wife get her guts rearranged, you know what I'm saying? On like a regular basis, or like watching you, because especially I would want my wife to be good at everything that she do. So if you're a really good actress,
you gotta make it look real.
You know what I'm saying? That scene gotta be convincing, you know what I mean? I gotta really believe that that Michael B. Jordan and what's her name? Haley Call, whatever, what's her name?
Stanfield.
Haley Stanfield are really like lovers, like they really love each other. It was like, I gotta believe that. It's not. I'm telling. Like, this is just part of the movie. It's not. I promise you, I'm not going into any spoilers. That's just in the movie that they're they play love interests and stuff. But I'm like, even like as Josh Allen, feeling about that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm Josh fucking Allen, like that nigga, quarterback, MVP, the man in Buffalo, New York, for whatever that's worth. And here I am being emasculated by Michael B. Jordan, one of the great actors of our time. So it's like, hey. This is
Josh Allen.
That's different.
You got to go win that Super Bowl, buddy.
Oh yeah,
fair.
Maybe beat Patrick Mahomes. You don't have no ego problems.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. Again, I think it's just the lens. Like I said, if I'm just regular me, I might feel a little like, eh. But if I'm like $250 million quarterback, maybe my money helps me sleep good at night. I guess I don't know. I figured if she did do some crazy stuff, then I mean, I'm sure it's a wave of them that would be trying to get on me anyway. So I'd be like, okay, I'm all right.
Yeah.
It would be tough though. I'm not gonna sit here and be Mr. Tough Guy. Oh no, that shit would suck.
Right. I might just, there might be a couple of premieres I might need to skip. Be like, hey, we have that shorthand. Be like, hey, what's in this movie?
Like, hey, what's the plot of this movie?
Do I want to see it?
Yeah. And how often are you getting pounded out in these movies? Like, are you a pound artist now or something? Like, why is it every movie you getting pounded out? Are you choosing these roles? What am I not doing right?
I feel like Hollywood's seen your titties more than I have. This is crazy.
Yeah, every fucking time it's your nipple. Why your nipples always out?
You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't never seen you do that move in the bedroom with me.
I was gonna say that'd be the real thing. If you watching your actress wife in a sex scene, and it's like, wait a minute, it sounds like something she said to me a couple weeks ago. Wait, are you thinking of me? Or are you seriously fucking in?
You in the moment, and it's like, is this a scene? Does she want this to be over with, or she really feel good in this moment? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I question everything now.
Yeah. That shit is tough, man. I don't even want to think about it.
It's not nearly as tough as it's about to get for one Shannon Sharpe, though. Fellas, I don't really have the words. This guy, Shannon, grew up in the rural South in Georgia. Famously, no indoor plumbing. Had to go poop in an outhouse and bring water in from a well to take baths and stuff. He tells the story all the time. You would think somebody with that kind of background would know to stay away from the white she devils, and yet he does not. And here we are with Shannon Sharpe dealing with this young white woman coming after him for, I think it was $50 million she was trying to get.
50 M's.
50 M's out of this man, claiming abuse, verbal and physical, and she's had a couple of clips drop right now. Tony Busby, famous, gotcha lawyer of Hollywood that handles a lot of these similar cases, is her representation. But as far as like letting a white woman hypersexualize you, like in some of the text messages and messages that were let out and stuff, you see in messaging like, put your big black babies in me and shit like that. I just don't, that take me out of it. That guy, like, no matter what what the pussy was hit for, that's taking me out of it. I don't know if I can keep going.
I mean, I've did a whole white people podcast, black men dating episode. So shout out to the FMFU podcast for that episode after the Jalen Hurts talk. But I've always never really played in snow like that. But if I were to do that, I don't want you telling me no shit like that, because it's always going to seem very tone deaf, even if you think it's kinky or something. Like, look at the optics. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not sure of her background. I think she's like an OnlyFans girl. So I don't know if maybe she gets off on talking like that to people, and this is something that, you know, is a normal thing for her. So maybe it's just all part of the role playing or whatever they have going on. But I just know for me personally, I don't like that. I know there was like a whole page on like Twitter at one time of all these women who were basically like out here just to, you know, hypersexualize black men. Oh, I want black babies. I want this. I want the black, all that. And I thought it was the weirdest thing. Some people even accuse some people that are famous of doing that because all their baby daddies are black and stuff. And it's like, that probably is a real thing. I always felt that was a little strange. I just would be very turned off by it. I don't know why, like you said, growing up where you grew up in the rural South Georgia, why are you being involved with them? Part of it could be, I mean, maybe, again, do you feel like you're not confident enough to, and you have to go that route? Like, I wonder what the reasoning for that is. And then I think also what makes me a little uncomfortable too is the age thing, man. Like, I know she's like of legal age, but like, that's a big gap, man. And I always try to be equal of things of like, hey, and we know the world's not going to be equal. It's always about equity. Like, we know this, but I still look at it like, man, if that was a woman doing that to a dude, I mean, it's kind of wild. Like, we had a whole Drea conversation about that with her situation. Now, mind you, the gap, that is not as big of a gap, but it's like, you got to put yourself, especially now that you get into the bag now, you're like probably more famous as a public figure than you were a football player at this point. So these young people, and the girl's young, she's going to know you for that. So she's like, oh, word, let's make it happen. You got to just know when a lick's coming your way. And Shorty looked like a lick. I mean, you got to just look at her like,
yeah.
And I know the Monique clip is going around now, where I think when she was on there and she was interviewing and she was like, stay away from the young girl. Yeah, right. And it's one of them things where, you know, you don't have to be married as an older gentleman. You know, if you had your kids and stuff, you can be out, you can do your thing, you can live your life, but you do have to be careful because shit like this can happen, man. People trying to extort you. They know the money's coming, a reported $100 million deal and stuff. You just got to be careful. But I always pretty much stayed away from them. Yeah. I would not be a fan of that, and I would have definitely left it alone after you saying some shit like that to me. I'm not a fan of that.
I mean, it's just weird to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't understand like that level, and I don't like to kink shame. You know, I'm very sex positive in a lot of things, but like that in those specific situations, I'm just like, my big black what? Like, what are we? It's kind of, you know what I mean? It just kind of give you the what women call it the ick, and be like, nah, that would have been it for me. I'm like, right. I don't even like where this conversation is going because like I ain't one of them. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it's just the optics of it. Like you said, it looks bad. She already was a young woman, but again, you know, once you're of legal consenting age, you know, whatever, far be it for me to accuse or judge anybody. I personally have certain ways that I feel about age gaps and things like that, even in my own personal life. But in terms of Shay and how he handles his business, it's none of ours. She was legal age, so like that's not part of this situation. So I just leave that part of it alone. But you would think somebody that's been in the public eye for as long as he has would move with a little bit more subtlety and would understand the ins and outs of the game. But it just goes to show you that not everybody understands the game or the rules of the game and how it's changed since he was a player.
Should we expect that, considering this is the same dude that Instagram lived him having sex?
No, for sure.
I feel like my expectation should be pretty low at this point.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's a good point.
It's like you forget Uncle Shay is still Unc. You know what I'm saying? You forget how phones work, and it's like for her to get the drop on him, like to have them on the phone talking the way they were talking on the phone, and it, you know, she I don't know if it's part of the kinks that they have or whatever, but she just kind of like sounds like this demure, scared white woman, and it's probably part of the ruse. If it is to be believed that she is not telling the truth in this, and that it was all part of, their sexual escapades, that they played this like cat and mouse type of game. But like, just from the sounds of it, it's like, no, I don't want this. I don't want that type of situation because
nope.
If we talk, it's got to be on FaceTime so people can get a better context. Because over the phone, the way she sounds versus how he sounds like an abusing husband. That's what he sounds like, or boyfriend. So, and I think that that's intentional. It's like it's not a coincidence that she was able to provide those phone calls immediately because that's what she intended. That's what she was looking to do. And you get into these relationships with these women, especially white women, it's like there's been how many decades, maybe even centuries, do we have to fall into them same traps to understand? Like, look, man, Emmett Till fell into the trap and he didn't even do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, the tale as old as time. That white woman honeypot trap where they're running in, they play up to the big black, all this stuff, and then as soon as it becomes suiting for them, they pull the rug from out from under you. They call the authorities. They get people involved, and instead of a lynch mob, physically, it's a court of public opinion lynch mob coming at you. That $100 million contract, all but gone, up in smoke right now, pending this case. And you might end up having to settle just to save your public face. And not for nothing, you're an employee of Disney. So I don't know what's going to happen with that contract situation, but like I can guarantee you going to the negotiating table between this and like Malik said, the Instagram Live situation, it ain't looking too good.
No. We just had a recent example. They probably will. But even like you said,
is this you?
Right.
You want how much?
You want how much to go on first take for 2 days a week?
Oh God! But you're right. It was a lot of examples. I mean, even the Jonathan Major stuff that was going on for so long. I mean, he lost so much in that situation, and this example right in front of your face, man. And that's a big example. I mean, he was about to be the face of the $1 billion empire, as we said, and they had to change all course for everything with the storytelling and just the route they wanted to go, just because of that situation. So we just got to learn from it and just do better. That's it. Better. Do better. Be better.
Better, please. Please be better, guys. Malik, what about yourself, man? How would you feel about it?
I mean, yeah, I can't really. I've never been with a white woman, so I can't. I have no reference.
Oh, shout out to Dr. Umar on the ones and twos.
No frame of reference for it. I mean, I'll say because we don't know all the stuff that happened, like I'm not going to say that she's lying or that he's lying. I mean, it'll all come out in court. The timing obviously is extremely interesting from the standpoint that, he's got a lot of things that he's looking to, he's got, like I said, the potential contract coming his way and stuff. Like I said, to me, this is more of a like, dude, you should be walking on eggshells after you Instagram live yourself banging out Miss Michelle.
That's my Michelle.
I just don't understand how this could happen to the same guy twice. It's like Die Hard 2. It's like, how do you end up in the same situation twice, dude? Like, what are you doing? Be smart. Like, just get some NDAs. They don't do NDAs no more in Hollywood? Like, what's up?
I don't know.
I don't think these kids even know how to spell NDA, to be honest.
He's not no kid.
But he ain't kid. Nah, he been famous for.
He old enough to
20 plus years.
Yeah. He's definitely supposed to know that. He got enough people in his circle to know better.
The world is a scam, man. You got to watch out all the time. All the time.
Speaking of scam, how did Memphis scam their way into the NBA playoffs, dog? Like, is there any way to skip? Can we skip that? Can they pass the sticks? Like, what's going on? Why are we allowing the Grizzlies to continue to play 2 more games?
So remind me of, how did they get into what was their play-in path? They lost to the Warriors.
No, it was the Warriors. Yeah, they lost to the Warriors. They beat Sacramento.
No, they beat Dallas.
Dallas beat Sacramento, and then they beat Dallas. Right. Yeah, I mean, they lost by a combined 80 points in the first 2 games, something like that.
I just know the first game was like 51 or something crazy.
Loss, yeah. Mm-hmm. Biggest loss in game 1 in NBA playoff history.
it's just like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? There has to be a certain point where it's like some wins have to count for two at least. Like, at least be like, look, man, Memphis, you get one more chance to at least make it a game.
You get one home game.
Yeah, you get one home game. Well, you know what I'm saying? you lost by a combined 80 points to the OKC Thunder, man. Like, let's just wrap it up. Because at this point, the only thing that could happen is one of the players for the Thunder could get hurt, or something worse. So let's get this series over with. I don't even know why they're still playing.
I'm gonna make a bold statement here. I actually think Memphis could win a game in this series on their home floor.
Really?
Like, I watched the game 2, and they made a couple runs. Clearly they got the doors blown off them. Like, game 1, that was sad. And on Easter Sunday, I mean, I'm at my grandmother's house. We got the game on. My grandmother wants to see that terrible basketball on TV. You know what I mean? Like, it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful. Jesus just got up. You know what I mean? He don't want to see that. You know what I mean? But it was bad. But game 2, I feel like they had their moments. I mean, OKC is just. We talked about it on the last pod with Jerv. I said I think OKC is the favorite to win the title, and like I think what we're seeing is a combination of game 1 specifically. They just played the night before. They played a pretty intense game. You had to win 2 games to get in, so you basically played like a regular season schedule that week against top tier competition. And I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm just saying, like, going into OKC on the road, I'm sure that they were probably not as fresh as they would have been had they taken care of business and only had to play 1 game. So I think OKC is just that good that, like, if you're slacking even a little bit, they could go on a 10-0 run like that. You know what I mean? And it's like, how are we down 17 points? It's like, oh, well, it was a close game, but then they went on a 12-0 run in like 5 seconds. And like, now it looks like this game is completely out of hand. But I felt like Memphis was like kind of coming back, and they kind of made a couple runs. Like, they're still going to get cooked in the series. But I think, like, I would give them a puncher's chance to win at least 1 game at home, because I feel like OKC's probably not going to feel the need to, like, bring their absolute A game every game in the series, because they're like, you just beat y'all niggas by, like, 100 points through 2 games. I think we're good. Like, I think maybe, like, some dudes might just be like, you know what, today maybe I'll go left-handed. Like, maybe I'll just play with my left hand today and just see, like, how that goes, because they're way overmatched. But I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
And I think the thing about with like that game 1 where they lost by 50, I think Shea only had 14 points, 17, 15 points or something crazy. So that's what kind of throws me off. I think Memphis is just one of those teams where, like, they should have been OKC probably a few years ago. They were in the running. They had kind of like that enforcer type guy with Dylan Brooks. They were kind of putting the pieces together properly. I think they even had Steven Adams at the time. That's kind of like their big man, veteran guy. So it's like, I think that 1 year they were the 2 seed. A lot of people like Ja just because of the way he plays. He reminds you of some like older school guards in a way, because he's not necessarily going to hang around the arc and shoot a bunch of threes, but he also dunks. A lot of people don't dunk anymore. Talked a lot about that earlier in the year. So a lot of people are like rooting for him, but the boy just want to talk them things, man. And I think it just derailed everything. With that. Yeah, man. I just think it really just like was kind of a cancer in that locker room. And I mean, they're getting rid of the coach, who I don't think he did a terrible job. I think, but they got him up out of there. I agree. I do think they do have a puncher's chance of getting a game. They did, when they lost to Golden State in the first play-in game, it still was a close game. Now, granted, bad coaching, they didn't get a final shot off because of the 5-second violation. But it still was a close game, and it's one of those things where anything can happen. So I give them a chance. I mean, I think OKC's going to roll, though. I think if OKC wins, they would play either the Clippers or the Nuggets next, I think. That's when it's like, okay, let's see what this team is really about, because that's my favorite series right now. It's time to pass the sticks. I'm over it. Let's move on to the next round for this team.
Yeah, I mean, this shit over with. Their next game is tomorrow, is Thursday night. And I think in that game, if they don't finish that game within at least 10, they ain't even got to win. Finish the game within 10. If they can't even do that, I just think they might as well go ahead and pack it up.
Yeah, pack
it up. You know, and it's sad to see because, like I said, they are a very talented team. They have good pieces there. They like Malik was saying earlier, they ran to a buzzsaw. OKC is not to be fucked with, and I think right now they're really making a statement. We had also mentioned in that pod with Jerv that I said you're going to find out who the king of the hill is, whether it's a player or a team. I think OKC is throwing their nuts on the table and letting them know, like, hey, in case y'all thought this was a fluke, like Memphis ain't the greatest team, is still an 8 seed, but they're doing what they're supposed to do with an 8 seed, which is they treating them like this is the first round of the NCAA tournament, and
get them up out of there early
against Memphis Tech. You know what I'm saying? Like the University of Oklahoma against Memphis Technical Community College or whatever. They beating the shit out of these boys, and they're really doing it without Shea. So I would hate to see what happens when SGA shows up to this series and really starts hooping.
Let me ask y'all this: who y'all think has a better shot at winning a game in their series between Memphis, Miami, or Orlando? Because obviously those three teams are the ones that, like, and all three of those teams got cooked in game one. Actually, the Heat were somewhat competitive.
He fought back.
The Heat were a little competitive, yeah. I would say in order from most to least, probably Orlando, Miami, and then Memphis.
Yeah, we knew you were going to say your Cavs was going to lose the game, man.
I mean, no, it was a good game in game one, man. I mean, Miami's always going to keep it interesting. And the only reason I would say Orlando is just because I don't really know how healthy Tatum and Brown are. They're saying that, Tatum is doubtful for game 2 with the wrist. There's been a lot of rumors about, Jaylen Brown's knee. Mm-hmm. And the thing about that team, man, is, they won very, handsomely, and their top guys really didn't do much. It's kind of like OKC with Shea. Like, he really didn't do much, and they won a great game. So I still think you still need your stars to play the best, especially as you move on to the rounds, because the competition only gets tougher. But again, health is like always the number one thing, also aside of talent. And if they're not healthy, I can see Paolo maybe going off and getting a game.
And that's why I picked Orlando for me, because in this situation, when you're the overmatched team or when you're the higher seed, it behooves you, like, do you have an opportunity to have the best player on the floor on any given night? Yeah. And, Tyler Hero was never going to be better than Donovan Mitchell. I don't care how he plays. You're just not. So he's going to struggle to be better than Garland on some nights. And he's a good player. Hero's a very good player. But those two in the backcourt are just, they're a different animal. So Memphis, Ja Morant does have an opportunity to be one of the best players on the court, on any court that he steps onto. But again, the Thunder are just so deep. And they're just so overmatched everywhere else that it's not going to help much. But with Paolo, like you said, they have the Celtics that might be dealing with some bumps and bruises throughout a long season. But the other part of that is that the Magic, they play really tough, and they play specifically the Celtics very, very tough. Because they're just a big physical team, and that's the kind of team that you have to be. You can't win against the Celtics being cute. You got to win with size, you got to win with defense, you got to win with toughness, and that's what the Magic provide. So if some of those threes fall down for the Magic and some of the threes don't fall for the Celtics, like I don't think the Magic will win a game in the Garden, but I do think that they'll win one, maybe even 2 games. Maybe get it to a game 6 against the Celtics, but the Grizzlies, I think they get wrapped up by the weekend here. And the Heat probably do eke one win out for the Heat, but if I had to pick only one of those 3 teams to get a win, it'll probably be the Magic for sure. To the last topic that we get to here, before our final dad rules of the day, I'm getting a somber tone because this is about the time that my team pisses me off. I don't even want to get this false hope. It's the NFL draft time. The time that most fans should be happy. But I'm sad. I'm sad because I know that the Raiders are going to piss me off, and I'm more sad because I don't know how they're going to piss me off yet. And that's the pain of the situation. When you don't know how your team is going to fuck you, that's just a different level.
It's like PD Pablo. Do you want it?
It's going to be a rough one for me, but I guess for you guys, people that have faith, maybe more so Malik than Maurice at this point, that have faith in their team. Well, the Browns haven't won a Super Bowl, so
I was going to say I don't. You have more faith in me having faith than I do, buddy.
Hey man, you know they passed that rule. Them championships count now. I've been telling everybody that.
I treat you the same way I treat the Yankees fans, bro.
I was gonna say if we're gonna count them Yankee chips and them old '60s Celtics chips, don't rack them up, baby.
Real mad at me when they said, "Oh, you just trying to do." I'm like, dog, you wasn't even allowed in the stadium. They would have spit on you outside. They probably tried to lynch you outside the stadium. That shit don't count.
Hey, listen. Was it called the World Series championship when the Yankees won them? Yes. Okay. Was it called the Super Bowl when y'all won them, Reese?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. So
I don't even think Lombardi was coaching.
With the owners, man. They signed. It's not me. It's them.
It was no. Listen, it was no blacks playing. The only blacks that were playing it was black and white. That's it. They ain't had no black people playing. They ain't had no Hispanics. They had no blacks. It was a bunch of white chain smoking construction workers out there throwing 75-mile-an-hour fastballs.
We won them.
What I will say is draft for you guys, and we'll start with Maurice here. Who do you want your team to take, first of all, and then why do you want this player for your team?
I mean, so what are we, number 2 overall?
Yeah, you're number 2. So get Cam out your mind. Who you want?
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, it'd be a quarterback. I mean, this team has went through like 25 different starting quarterbacks or something since they came back.
Come back for Deshaun Watson? No.
Nah, man. I think he lost his juice, man. I think the OnlyFans sucked it out of him. Pause. Like, I think it's just over with. Like, I don't know what's going on, and it's kind of sad because it's the most Cleveland Browns shit that could happen. Because even before all the scandals and all the bullshit, realistically, the shit was like a top, like, I don't know, 5, 10, whatever quarterback in the league. Like, legit. I can understand the mindset of, you know what, Baker's kind of up and down. You know, we got an opportunity to do something here, as crazy as it sounds, but let's take a swing. I mean, let's take a big swing. And unfortunately, it just hasn't panned out. So you still need a quarterback. We don't know what this guy is going to do. I think he did something with his Achilles or something again in the offseason. So who knows how long that's going to take? I mean, they say it usually takes like 2 years realistically, even though guys come back earlier. And if healthy, he's only averaging 140, 50 yards a game. How's he going to be after he comes back from the Achilles? So it's just like, just take the L for the owners. You're billionaires. These M's, they're a lot to us. They're a lot of money, but I mean, they're thousands to you. You're a billionaire. Take the L. He got paid. You call him a fleece master, ski mask guy, whatever you want to call it, and try to figure out the quarterback situation. I don't know who you need to get in the room. I don't know if we need to sprinkle some fucking magic fairy dust. I don't know what needs to be determined. Somebody told me at one time that they just think it's the colors. They said they need to just do a new identity. Like,
y'all don't even have a logo, bro.
Think about it. What you got to realize, when the team left and moved and went to Baltimore, they won a fucking Super Bowl like a year or two later. Like in 2000, like
3 years later, that, man. It moved in like 96 and 1 in 2000.
Yeah, man. So it's like, it's got to be something with the color. It's got to be something. Like, I don't know.
But y'all actually got like a really great color scheme. That's the thing.
Great is such a strong word.
I think it's because it's one of the classics, you know, when the team was formidable and, you know, you respect those formidable franchises from back in the day. But I mean, it was Jim Brown. It just hasn't really been nothing. And even those years that they were relevant, it was just, they were falling short. We seem to believe land fucking ESPN special until the Bron shit happened with the 3-1 that they had to edit it. That whole thing was sad, though. It was like every time, like some of the stuff, I'm like, damn, I was like a youngin'. I didn't even know about this. So it's always something. I don't know if it's the colors. I don't know if it's the
quarterback is. If you're getting a quarterback, is it Shador?
I was gonna say, what would it be? I mean, probably. I mean, you probably would take the chance on Shador, I guess.
Are you taking your quarterback at 2, because they're saying it might be a reach for either one of those guys at 2. Are you taking, you know, Abdul Carter or whoever you think the best player is at 2 and then trading back in, or you want them don't even end around?
I think at this point you got to look at it from, you just need that quarterback, man, because he's just the engine. Like we've got Myles Garrett, who's one of the greatest defensive players ever. You've had Nick Chubb. You've had even brought in Odell with the 1 point time. It didn't work out, but you've had all these pieces, and you're like, oh, this should be a squad, like legit. And it seems like the one piece that was always missing is like, man, if you just had like that sort of like elite or elite-ish quarterback, You know, you seen what happened the one year with Baker, but then again, he was kind of a roller coaster. That's the reason why they let him go. If he was consistent like that one year, I would have been rolling. I mean, even though like in Tampa they were like first round exits, but it's better than being 4 and fucking 12 or whatever the hell. So I think you have to have that quarterback because that's just the engine for this team. You just got to figure it out. They just can't figure it out. 24 fucking different starting quarterbacks in like 25 years is figure it out wild.
6, you know what I mean? So Malik, for you, what are you looking for your team? With the what is it, the 3rd pick, 4th pick?
We have the 3rd pick.
Shout out Tommy DeVito.
My uncle called him Danny DeVito over the weekend. Listen, man, like I said, I think it's hilarious that you have more faith in my team or in me about having faith in my team than I do because I'm with you. I don't know how they're going to piss me off. I just know they are. My honest answer to your what do I think they should do is I think they should go get a time machine and lose that game to the Colts so they have the number 1 pick because, bro, this is the worst position to be in. The worst position to be in. Like, there's you know, a really – and I was on Cam Ward before he rose up to number 1 in terms of quarterback ratings. Like, everybody was saying Shedeur is the best quarterback. Shedeur's the best quarterback.
I was on Cam
Ward. And then everybody flipped on him when they got rolled in their bowl game. I thought Cam Ward was great. I saw him at the comeback. It was against not UCLA. Was it Cal? UCLA? I can't remember who they played.
It was Cal.
Against Cal. I watched that game and I was like I had like a spiritual moment watching that game. I was like, this is why you love sports because it was unbelievable watching this dude just like bring his team back. So yeah, like if the Giants could go back in time and get the number 1 pick, that'd be great. They won a meaningless game in week 17 for no reason, which was stupid. At this point, you know, I really don't know, man. Like I like Shedeur. I was listening to someone say that they think if his name was Shedeur, you know, Stevens or like just not Sanders, that he'd be a 6th round pick, which I thought was kind of wild.
Disrespectful.
I think that's wild.
It did seem disrespectful, but when he broke it down, I was like, I kind of see what you're saying. Like he's just a really risky. Like the thing that I'm not a football scout or anything like that, right? I watch football just like every other, you know, person who just loves sports. But like the thing that stands out when you watch him is like, dude, you can't take a 2 to 5 yard sack. You got to run 30 yards backwards for some reason to try to, you know, make a play. And then now it's 2nd and 50, you know, and it's like, okay, cool. How do we at least get a couple yards back just so we can punt this ball? So like that concerns me considering the Giants never, ever, ever have a good offensive line. So he'd be running for his life for, you know, from the start. We signed Russell Wilson. We signed Jameis Winston. We got Tommy DeVito, probably going to be, you know, on the practice squad. Like, I have no idea what to do with this Giants. I don't know what this Giants team is doing. The coach, the GM, they both want their jobs, want to keep their jobs, which means that they're probably going to try to win now. So to give a very long answer, I'm assuming that means they're going to take Abdul Carter, you know, because you can always just be like, oh, we took a defensive guy because he was the best player available. But I'm not happy about it. That's for sure. Because we need a quarterback. We have no quarterback for the future. And we haven't had a quarterback. I mean, we had Daniel Jones, you know, and we saw where that went. They picked Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley. The rest is history. Yeah, right?
Man.
Welcome to my world, bro.
Man.
Every time I think about it, I say yes.
Bro.
So, you know, to me, it's like, man, I want Shedeur to be that guy. And, you know, he's got the charisma. He's got it all, right? But, like, watching him, like, I didn't get the feeling watching him that I got the feeling when I watched Cam Ward, which is like, this dude, like, it just looks easy for him. Like, it looks easy for him. Shedeur makes plays. He does all that stuff. But it's different at it's different at the NFL. It's different at the NFL level. You're not going to have, you know, I mean, we got Malik Neighbors, but, you know, I don't see how I don't see how the team decides, like, hey, let's, you know, take on this project. Because picking a guy 30 is not going to play behind Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. Like, then that's going to become a whole thing. So my concern is, like, we don't take a quarterback at all, or we take some, you know, project quarterback. I like Milroe, by the way. You know, I know people also say that he's not a great passer, whatever. But I like what's there. I like the bones of what's there.
The physical tools. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I'm concerned because I got Russell Wilson playing quarterback for me. Like
moonball time.
It could be Jameis,
And I like Russ too. Like I'm not shading Russ, but like, what's the future going to look like?
Unlimited.
you have a team that's supposed to be building something, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're going to get rid of our franchise running back and the guy who we decided to keep instead of the franchise running back because we're stupid and we wanted to pay this guy $40 million even though he's not worth it. My rant's done. Aaron, what do you think your team's going to do? How are they going to piss you off?
Piss me the fuck. I mean, in every way possible. The first way would be trading up to draft like Ashton Genty or something like that, or Shador or something like that. I'm like you, Malik. I was on Cam Ward very, very early. Told anybody that would listen, like, nah, I never heard of Cam Ward going into the year. And then from watching him play 2 or 3 games, I was like, yo, he really might be that guy. But like, he still was, okay, maybe he'll be a late first round pick. Maybe he'll be an early second round pick. It wasn't ever number one discussion until it got to later in the season and he started breaking ACC records. And it was like, shit, I thought we'd be able to get away with getting this guy in the second round. Yeah. And now we're going to have to take him a little bit too high. Well, now the Raiders don't have the first pick because Antonio Pierce decided to win games towards the end of the season that he shouldn't have won. And we're stuck with the 6th pick, which is an awkward place to be. I'm a big best player available guy. That's what I'm about. So I believe in drafting the board and also not necessarily drafting for need, but understanding the board and how it falls. And I think the biggest thing that the Raiders have done to piss me off in the past is they draft their board as if that's the board that everyone in the NFL has. So you look at, there was like a string, I think, of 4 straight drafts where we took Fabian Washington over Aaron Rodgers, famously with the 25th pick. Aaron Rodgers, by the way, is from the Bay Area, so, could have had a local kid at quarterback. But, Al Davis said we have Andrew Walter, so we didn't need a quarterback. And if you're asking yourselves at home who Andrew Walter is, that's your answer. You know what I mean?
Oh, my God.
Then the following year, as if that wasn't enough, adding insult to injury, we took Robert Gallery over Larry Fitzgerald, not because Larry Fitz ran a 4.6, which is what a lot of people think is the reason. I'm sure it contributed to it because Al Davis preferred his blacks to run 4.2s. But the biggest reason was because he said Robert Gallery, and I quote, looks like a Raider. So we're drafting guys that look like Raiders now, I guess, in pictures. And then the next year after that, instead of taking Hall of Famer Calvin Johnson, Al Davis forced Lane Kiffin to take Jamarcus Russell, who everyone knows as the biggest flop in NFL history, as the number 1 overall pick, a guy who doesn't even watch film. No, Ryan Leaf was the number 2 pick. So but he can't be the biggest flop in NFL history as the number 2 pick. You just can't. You can't. That was kind of like the consolation prize. If you didn't get Peyton, then you had to get Ryan Leaf.
Okay. I was trying to throw Jamarcus Russell some, throw him a little bone.
No, he gets no bones.
No,
He's a guy a kid from Alabama who went to LSU, who showed up to, I think it was like a Mike Tyson fight or I forget who was fighting. It was a big prize fight wearing a big ass Alabama fur, like a mink coat with the Alabama logo on it because he's from Alabama. But it's like, you graduated from LSU, brother. That'd be like a Kappa wearing a fucking Alpha, Letterman jacket or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you serious? You know what I mean? Like, have some couth about it. But no, so I don't know how they're going to piss me off. I refuse to believe that they're going to have a good draft because nothing in the history of this franchise has told me that they will have a good draft. We have a Patriot, the guy who put us in this position in the first place, Tom Brady, and his goons run it. Hi. That's the only thing I do have to look forward to is my daughter putting a smile on my face at the end of the night as I attempt to cry myself to sleep. At least I'm off tomorrow. That's what I will say. At least I'm off on the first round day. I vividly remember sitting in my chair as Jasmine was sleeping in the other room. Hi. Jasmine was sleeping in the other room, and I was sitting in my chair waiting because I wanted Michael Penix. And I was like, the Raiders are going to get him. The Raiders are going to get him. And the draft went, and then here come the Falcons. Who just signed Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, that's wild. That was wild.
Boom, Michael Penix. I was like, there's no there's no fucking way this just happened right now. That you just signed a quarterback to a $100 million deal. You're the only team between us and getting Michael Penix, and you fucking drafted him. So in that regard, it wasn't necessarily their fault that they pissed me off. But again, as soon as you see the running quarterbacks happening, you needed to trade up and get your guy. And unfortunately, they didn't do that. So to answer my own question, who do I want them to take? I want them to take the best player available. And for my money, I think that's going to be Jalen Walker, the edge rusher out of the University of Georgia. So we'll see how that happens. But knowing my luck, we're going to trade up and get Ashton Genty with like the 4th pick or some shit. Because that's what the Raiders do. Dumb shit.
He's flying up draft boards, yo. I saw, actually, I was watching Pro Football Talk, and they were saying that he's the favorite to go to the Raiders, which I was like.
But, like, running backs outside of, like, Saquon Barkley, really shouldn't be drafted that high. And even Saquon, you could argue, it was a little bit high. It worked out, but it didn't have to, So that's one of those. Well, not for you. It worked out for the Eagles pretty well. It worked out for you guys for a little bit. He had injury troubles. He had a healthy year behind a good.
I'm not saying it didn't work out because of him. I'm saying
because they got rid of him.
Yeah, but I'm saying you still got a couple of good years out of him, though.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thanks.
Hey, it could be worse. The Raiders drafted a pretty high 1st-round pick. We hired Darren McFadden, who probably should have won the Heisman Trophy the year that he came out in the draft, and we only got one 1,000-yard year out of him before he was done. So. It could be worse. It could always be worse. Your team could be the Raiders. I want everybody going into the 1st round or this NFL draft weekend to understand it could always be worse. You could be a Raiders fan. So as long as you have that in your cap, smile.
Okay. Who's under center for the Raiders next year? Is it Geno?
Yeah. Oh God, thank you for that reminder. Appreciate that, Maurice.
I just killed him.
Yes. Newly minted to at $100 million contract, Geno Smith. Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah. That's right, because they traded him because they ended up signing Sam Darnold. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
I remember now.
They traded Geno before actually signing Darnold, but that was always going to be their plan is signing a free agent. Younger quarterback while the Raiders get older at coach and quarterback.
He's not mad.
At least you're off tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm gonna need it, and a lot of I got a lot of Hennessy left over, so I'm
for sure
probably getting real acquainted with that bottle. But on to the topic that we've all been waiting for, our favorite topic of every single podcast that we do. It is time for dad rules. I'll start it off here with my dad rule. It's about parental. It's not really a dad rule necessarily as much as it is an observation that I've had, and it's about parental shorthand, and not so much the words that you say to each other once you've had a kid. But we both have kids. Maurice, you have too. It's that nonverbal shorthand that you have. I feel like me and my wife are in like an ongoing episode of The Office around the house. Whereas like Aria will do something, and you guys know as parents, you don't want to laugh at the naughty shit that your kid does sometimes, even if it's on accident. But like it'd be funny, so you like look at each other, kind of like Jim Halpert looks at the screen during The Office, and like that. You find yourself doing it every time, and you're just like, this feels like a Mike Schur TV show. Hi, come here, boo. I don't know what you're saying because I can't understand your baby's your picture. You want to draw a picture? You say hi to Uncle Reese. You say hello.
What's up, little mamas?
Keep the shirt.
What's up? Look at the shirt. Okay. You dragging her in this misery with you.
No. I actually said when I was getting her dressed, I told Jasmine this morning. I was like, telling Aria, but through Jasmine, or telling Jasmine through Aria, I was like, "You're not allowed to be a Raiders fan. You can be a Red Sox fan, but I'm not allowing you to be a Raiders fan. I don't want that for your soul."
Yeah, we had to protect our children.
If it's my luck, she'll be like her mom and like really won't care about sports, and that's what I really want for her. Maurice, you have a dad rule. What's yours?
My dad rule, it's not really a two-parter, but I guess it's got two parts to it, if that makes sense. One thing I want to say is that what we had to understand, and this will more so probably something that you guys could understand if you do decide to have more children in your future, but not all your kids are the same. I think it's kind of easy for us as parents to kind of think, well, hey, I raised my first kid this way. This is how I went with my first kid. So when I turn around and have another one, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing, and it should play out that same way. It doesn't. And that's kind of one part of what I'm saying, because sometimes certain things that worked out for you the first time around and you ended up getting away with one kid, when you try it again with that second one, that shit ain't going to work. So, like, for example, my daughter, who's can't believe it's going to be fucking 10 in like 3.5 weeks. You know, she was a baby. She was in the bed, you know, and then, you know, we would put her in the crib. She'd watch some TV, you know, until she fell asleep. She was in the crib all night, slept like an angel, no problems. Initially with Mason, we kind of tried that when he was younger. You know, I'm like, you know, me, I'm like old school, like put him in the damn crib. We got baby monitors. Who cares? His mother's not like that. Oh, no, I lay with my son, whatever. I'm not going to argue with you. Boston shit, right? So she's laying with him. It seems like even to this day, now granted, he's 5.5. That boy still wants somebody to lay with him, put him in bed. He will sit up all night until somebody lays in his bed. He's got a nice bed. He's got a new bed, new full-size, twin size, whatever size it is. But he wants you to lay in there with him until he goes to sleep. Sometimes it's 5 minutes. Sometimes it's 20 minutes. Me, I'm like, this is some annoying shit, boy. Like, you're long as hell. You're kicking me in the sides. You got your arm. Boys are a little more touchy-feely, grabbing. Like, don't touch him. Like, get off of me. Like, and I think part of that is because, you know, when you're under the assumption, more so her, I did this with my daughter, so this is going to work with my son. They're not the same person. That shit does not work. Understand that. And make sure you adapted your parenting to what your child needs, and understand that, especially when it comes to genders, boys and girls are totally different. Part 2 of that, what I want to say about not all your kids are the same, and this is something I don't relate to, but something I do see. People gotta stop dressing their kids in the same outfits.
Boy.
Yo.
Man.
I got a friend, you know, close friend, one of my brothers, you know, and his wife, and they got 3 daughters. She be, and so it goes, I think 11, 6, and 3 or something. I might be getting the ages wrong. Oh, she loved to dress them up all the same, like they some Maori twins or some shit. Twins, I understand, you know, we grew up in the 90s. Oh, we Tia Tamara twin thing. Okay, you know, we 2020, and I get all that, but like 3 fucking different ages. Like, we're all in the same outfit.
It's not what the jits mean when they say twin. You know what I mean? We don't have to dress up.
Right. And then especially, like, let's say you do have 2 kids that are like a year apart, and then you put them in the same outfit. You know how the clear folks look at us? They always think we all look the same. So then they're like, oh, your daughter's twins. No, they're not fucking twins. They just got on the same outfit. Stop dressing your kids the exact same. All your kids are not the same. We got to raise them differently. They're going to have the different experiences growing up. One's going to look at you in a certain lens differently than the other one's going to look at, because one was older sibling, middle sibling, or younger sibling. And give them their own identity. They don't all have to be wearing the bubblegum pop pink shirt with the
my sisters
green
hated that.
skirt
Like,
or some
growing
shit.
up with my mom did that shit where they would wear like the same Oshkosh fucking overalls and all that stuff, and the same skirts and all that.
Yeah, no.
Like, they fucking hated it. And it was Lauren, the older of my 2 sisters, that was like, finally, like, I don't always have to dress and look like it was like, I remember the conversations. It struck home when you said it. I was like, that's why I hit that, like, my head just dropped when you said it. I was like, man, I felt like I was back in like 1999 having this conversation all over
again. And again, this is just something I noticed. I have one of each, so they're not really dressing the same like that. But what I have noticed for ones that have multiple, you know, shout out to Lauren, she's right. Let them have their own identity, please.
Yeah, please.
In defense, because I got 2 older brothers and we all 1 year apart. So in defense of dressing your kids the same, back in the day, when you had to take the photos, you know what I'm saying? And we all had the full-on Canadian tuxedo pop.
It's different, though.
The pictures came out fire, though.
It's not the same thing.
Yeah. We did that. We all had some shell toes with the overalls on, and I had a white hoodie underneath. So yeah, well, you know that the picture day is fine. Yeah. But when you just going for like school shopping,
something like that, like
and you're in the same purple shirt with the orange polo horse or some shit, and everybody's hair is the same, and like, give them their own identity.
Yeah,
they're all different.
Like, we don't all want to have that same graphic tee. You know what I'm saying? With
Exactly.
a lollipop on it. You know what I'm saying? Or get the same tea in 4 different colorways. Like, nah, man. Like, let's give the kids some individuality. Your identity is not, I'm this person's older brother or younger brother or older sister, younger sister. Like,
That's
I'm my own person. Let that person have the individuality. I'm with that 100%. And you don't even have right to say this, Malik, because you was the baby brother. Baby brother, everybody know that the baby brother.
I'm just saying the pictures look great. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but as the baby brother, as the baby brother, you loved all this stuff. You want to be like your older brothers. That's what the younger brother's supposed to want. Oh, not really.
To some degree. I love my brothers. Now we love each other, but back then we was like literally like, you know, the amount of times we almost killed each other over like stupid stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. Like it's actually insane.
The sibling thing is different. Mine as soon as I get them from school, it's just. I'm like, yo, y'all gonna fight? I get it. It is what it is, but it's like on site. Why are you looking at me?
How long do you let them go?
It just depends on how loud they get, or if like one gets to whine and then just continues to call my name. You know, so like she's like, I don't know why he's looking at me. I know I'm beautiful, but he don't gotta look at me. They just he's an annoying little brother. Now that he know that's bothers you, he's trying to fuck with you. Like I'm trying to teach you to ignore the haters, quote unquote. Just ignore him. He's younger. He's gonna do that. And then, you know, she'll be picking with him, and then he's loud, so he's screaming all loud for me to do something about it. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? Beat her? Yeah, I know, right? I hear
that. Your daughter has your confidence, and your son has your mouthpiece. It's like, this is what happens.
For sure. Absolutely.
But Malik, what's your dad rule, man?
This one is personal because this is a rule that I have to make up for myself, which is take more pictures of your children, but like when you doing stuff, which I got so many pictures and videos of my son rolling around doing like meaningless stuff around the house. And I'm like, oh man, he's so cute. This weekend, I took 0 pictures of this child in his like Easter outfit, whatever. And I was like, damn, I put him in his little, you know, had his little fit on. I mean, granted, he can't really do nothing, but you know, so I'd have to hold him up. But like, literally, and this is a problem for me and Shannon because we never take pictures of ourselves when we go out. And we always come back like, we didn't take any pictures. So I'm like, all right, I got to make sure that I start taking pictures of him actually outside doing stuff to the degree that he can do stuff. At least get the fit. Like, I at least got to be like, okay, we put this awesome outfit together. Like, let's get some proof of it so we know that it happened. Yeah, I'm kicking myself for that one. So that's my dad rule. You know what I'm saying? All the dads out there, make sure you get the pic.
Capture the moment, man.
Yeah.
Capture the moment. Because I mean, I'm with you. Like, I'm not a picture taker myself. Jasmine and her family has always been very big on pictures. They always take a family photo, like Mother's Day, Christmas, and all that stuff. They take a lot of photos. Jasmine got into photography herself a little bit more. So, you know, a couple of Christmases ago, I got her like her own like studio camera and everything like that. And she's, you know, already paid that off tenfold by the beautiful pictures that she constantly takes. You know, my daughter. Yeah, I was. If I didn't have her, it would definitely be a lot more scarce for sure. Because Jasmine's very good. Like she got the Easter photos. We got the photos when she was a kid. But like you guys know, I think I sent you know, the invites to the public page. That's another one that I would suggest for you, Malik. If you make like a shared album on your iPhone and just add family to it, that way you're not having to send photos every time.
Yeah.
Update the album, and everybody that you shared the album with photo. I got that from a friend of mine. It's just infinitely easy. Jasmine take all her photos on her camera. She can share the photo from her camera onto her phone, and then from there she puts it in the shared folder, and then everybody has access to it. They can comment on it. They can like the photos and everything. It's like its own little
Apple social media sort of. Yeah, they can like it and stuff. Yeah, it's clutch.
And I'm in clusters one at a time. As we've recently just been doing. Before it was like every day. I would do like fit of the day and stuff when she was a real little baby. But now that you know we're back working and everything like that, moving around, it's more like in clusters. Like here's the last 2 months, you know, or here's Easter Sunday or whatever it is. We'll put stuff up.
Yep. Good tip.
Big miss by me, but you know. It's cool.
Hey man, but I'm sure he was fly for Easter, man. I'm sure he was fly in his fit.
He was fly. No one will know except his grandma, his great grandma.
You told him when he's like 16, like your first Easter, you was fly, son.
Yeah,
let me see the pic.
Yeah, put that shit on.
You just have to trust me.
Just trust me. Picture this. It was a white shirt, right? Okay, you got some nice jeans on. You know what I mean? Nah, my boy was hit. His fit was hit.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing, man. Well, yeah, like as I like to say, man, we always appreciate everybody for rocking with us on the podcast, man, and for you, Maurice, man. You know, you've been a friend of ours for a long time. We've known each other for over a decade now, and it's just been a pleasure having you back on.
Yes, sir.
You know, we love having your podcast back. Is what the streets need, is that unfiltered, unedited truth. For you, again, I've mentioned this to Malik multiple times, both on and off air. For you to be able to do that whole pod, like just solo, just talking into a mic, man, that's a different level of talent, brother. That's a different level of talent. So we definitely want to give you your flowers while you're here to accept them, man, because you're doing good content. You're doing it all solo, the editing, the recording, the talent, and all that stuff, and that's definitely something. You your own Ron Coogler, man. It's like Ron Coogler and Maurice Brown. Like you right there, man.
No, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's fun, but it's definitely some work, you know. And the hardest part is, you know, the main thing we just talked about, the dad rules. It's just so much going on all the time, man. And then especially as you throw in another one and they have activities. So I got T-ball practice, you know, and then games, and then my daughter's got cheer competitions, and then got some days I might have to go downtown Atlanta to work. Like it's a lot trying to juggle all of that. So it can be tough, just really coming up with the content and finding ways to sort of make it like entertaining, because you are kind of just on like your own stage. Luckily, I'm a little psycho and I've always talked to myself. So it's not really too much out of the wind for me to do it. But I want to make sure that it's like it's like a preacher with a sermon. You know, you kind of put it together and you're like, oh, I want to talk about this here, kind of transition into this. And that's really the longest effort that it takes to really put it together. But, you know, there's a lot of tools that help with it now, you know, compared to before. But, man, it is a lot of work. Even what you guys do, with the way you guys are putting yours together, some of the graphics you're throwing in and some of the pics and things, I'm starting to see some. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. I can take some of those ideas eventually for myself. But as always, you know, like you said, it's been decade plus. It's always a honor to come on here. You know, my fellow Hampton alum. You know, I probably told the story before, but I told Malik, Malik like the second person I met at Hampton. He probably don't even remember that.
The thing is, I was literally about to say that you were the first person I met. Shout out to Three South.
At Three South, I met my man.
Too smooth, baby.
Yeah, I met my man John. He busted in my room like, oh, the internet ain't working, and I'm like looking crazy. You know, I was a different person, and I'm like, yo, who the hell are you? Like, I'm thinking he's trying to be on some other shit, and then I think everybody was trying to, you know, find themselves and figure it out. You know, we're like the last of the old school, as I call it, from the millennial perspective. You know, we're the last to see the damn tapes and VCRs. And going to Hampton, that was kind of like that weird transition phase, because it's like, man, I'm walking around in a tall tee and some Air Force One. Then we got into the business casual phase at the club. Like, we didn't know how to dress. Like, we didn't know what to do. So it's like it's a very unique middle child area to be, where it's like we're the first of the new school and the last of the old school. So you're only going to have, you know, I always say this, and again, our full circle that's going back to the Coogler comment, it's always me to want to be like, man, millennials, we rocking. But it's like, yeah, let me look at it from a realistic perspective of totality. But I love to see when people in our range are thriving, because I feel like we are probably one of the realest decade, or not just decades, but the realest generations, as I'm sure everybody else feels theirs is too. But it's a little different here in this area, man, especially when you're a fellow Hamptonian man, you know, black men. We out here building families, making things happen. And as vulgar as a podcast that I have that's talking that real, it might sound a little crazy from what I'm saying, but if you really sit back and think, you're like, you know what? That motherfucker crazy, but he got a point.
That's why I told my wife that before she met you. Like, tell anybody, like, man, when you listen to the pod, like, you understand, if you know Reese, he actually being calm on this podcast. Like, he being as chill as he could possibly be while trying to still give you his authentic opinion. So, I mean, it's a talent to be able to contain all of that and to do it and put it out with the consistency and the quality that you do, man. We just want to make sure that you understand it's good stuff that you be doing. We appreciate it. We love it. We look forward to it every week, as we will, even coming forward. I hope for both of y'all that your teams don't piss you off. I've given up any hope on the Raiders not pissing me off.
Hey, I'm legit. Hey, I'm just see what these guys do, and then I'm hoping I get another one of these. It's been almost 10 years, dog. We'll see what happened. I'm an unbiased fan. I know Boston's the team to beat in the East, but we got a shot. So let's see what happens. So
yeah, man, I like it. You a 1 seed. You got a chance. Malik team about to lose to Detroit and shit, but
man, listen. Yo.
Yeah, man, it's a tough series, man.
Y'all was talking crazy in that chat. It's funny enough.
It's a tough series, man.
The only reason I didn't respond is because I had a job interview the next day, and I was like, these niggas is coming. These niggas want me. Shout out to Sid. Yo, shout out to Sid. Sid was waiting. I know Sid was waiting to say something about the Knicks.
Sid was talking real spicy.
I know Sid was waiting to say something about the Knicks. You know what I'm saying?
Sid was talking like the Hawks was the 1 seed.
Yeah,
yeah, he was. I know 11 a killer. I'm like, 11 gone.
11 might not be on the Hawks next year while you talking. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, man. Crazy.
Man. But yeah, but we appreciate everybody that rock with us, man. It's been another great episode of the No Rules Podcast. Peace.
Peace, y'all.